we want to welcome Saran, who is an alum of San Jose State, and he received his master's degree here in computer engineering back in 2018. So according to his LinkedIn profile, he's striving hard to bring to reality the vision to make the ParkStash app disrupt the entire parking industry and become a leader. So he is founder and CEO of ParkStash. So let's go ahead and turn the virtual stage over to him so he can tell us more about his background and about the ParkStash app and how it impacts the environment. So you can give your virtual hands to Samir. Welcome, Samir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Professor Barbara. Again, it's a great opportunity to speak with fellow Spartans. So thank you everyone who has joined today to listen about ParkStash and the impact that we have been making. So let me share my presentation so we can get started here. All right, let's do this. So just to confirm, it's visible, right? The first slide.
Yes, the first slide is visible.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so as Professor Barbara said, I am an alum of San Jose State. I did my master's in computer engineering. I graduated in May 2018. I am originally from India, where I did my bachelor's in automobile engineering. And in 2016, I arrived to San Jose State University to pursue my master's program. And so the story of ParkStash and how it began starts with my journey in San Jose State. So in 2017, when I was still a student, I wanted a parking permit as I was commuting to the university. So I went to the parking department and I said that, all right, I need a semester permit. And they said it's $192. I said, okay, I'll pay that. So they gave me this physical permit to hang on to the car, which they used to do at that time. And so the next day, my first day of class, it took me 30 minutes to find one space in their garage. It's like, wow, is this going to be my life? I already paid. I need to get a space. So I cannot, just come to the campus and keep circling around. And so when I talked to the students nearby and my classmates, they said they literally came at 6 a.m. in the morning, slept in their car for 2 hours, and then went to their classes. So it's like, hey, Samir, this cannot be your life. We need to find a solution to this problem. And that is how we started. So as one evening I was walking down the road, I see empty driveways, carports, I see empty church lots. And I thought that, hey, if these people can share this valuable resource with the Spartan community, that's our solution. And so we started ParkStash as the Airbnb of parking. That's what we are dubbed in many of the articles that have been written about us. That was in 2019 when we launched with this concept with the Airbnb of parking. And today we have grown a lot more than just a parking platform for renting and booking spots. Today, we have created a parking and transportation management platform that is not just used by consumers and property owners, it's being used by universities, event centers, as well as cities themselves, which I'll be talking more. Our focus is on making a sustainable solution, and you'll see how the impact that we have made reflects our vision to make a sustainable parking and transportation platform. So before I tell you more about what we have built, let's just take a step back and look at San Jose State metrics for an example. So we have over 35,000 enrollment, of which 43% commute to college. This is, of course, before the pandemic. And so that means 15,000 students were driving to campus. And guess what? We have 4,768 spots available. So you have over 5,000 students literally just driving around on average 30 minutes to find a space. The problem goes deeper because when you just circle around, you are letting CO2 emissions into the atmosphere, that for 30 minutes at a speed of, 10 to 15 or even 5 miles an hour. So now per day, if you have these many cars driving around, you have 541 metric tons of CO2, which has released to the atmosphere every single day at the campus. Even at looking at a broader picture, just look at traffic congestion. It has been ever increasing, and 30% of which is caused by people actively looking for parking. This was a study done by UCLA professor Donald Shoup. If we look at the city of San Jose, here's the cost of traffic congestion. In 2019, it was $2.36 billion. Nearby city LA, it ranks worst in the nation for traffic congestion. We have felt this. So what impact does solving parking would make? If 30% of traffic congestion is just by people looking for parking, let's say I don't solve the entire issue, I just make 15% improvement. If the cost was $2.39 billion, that means we saved city of San Jose over $708 million. That means we could create almost 15,000 jobs just in city of San Jose. What if now ParkStash is in 10 more cities? We can save over $1 billion for the US economy. That means we could actually create over 150,000 jobs. So it's not just about you circling around. The impact is much more if you look at a higher scale, if you look at the overview of what it does to a city and to a country. Since I said country, here are the numbers for US as a whole. So searching for parking is wasting 3.6 billion of hours looking for parking, 1.7 billion gallons of fuel, and wiping out 72.7 billion from the US economy. And this is everywhere, whether you go to a shopping mall, whether you go to a hospital, event center, university, airport, or even to work, you will face this problem. And the numbers here speak for themselves. So 63% have avoided even driving to a destination or even going to shopping. And since they do that, people who actually have shops there, local businesses, they are the ones who suffer because people actually are not willing to drive just because they won't find a parking space. They skip leisure or sports activities. Think about that. People have even avoided driving to a doctor's office or a hospital just because of this issue. Road rage, just stressing around looking for parking leads to road rage. And you know what road rage leads to? It leads to accidents, and even one life lost is a lot. We don't need that. We don't need this issue happening anymore. Look at this metric. This was from BART, a study done by BART, and they have now a state mandate that they cannot build more parking spaces. They have to invest those spaces in building affordable housing. And what the study found was you are spending almost $60,000 to $80,000 per space to build a garage. Wouldn't you use that money somewhere else if those spaces are already available? You could build affordable housing. You can have community serving uses like childcare, or you can even make transportation infrastructure improvements. So a city and a country can do a lot more than building more garages. Taking those metrics, if we want to build a garage like North 10th Street at San Jose State, it can cost up to $129 million. And remember, building a garage is not just about money. You will have an impact on the environment, and you will have an impact on the global warming if you keep building more garages. On the flip side, there are 33% of land area of LA is devoted to parking, which means there are 18.3 million spaces and just 5.6 million cars. And still, LA has a huge parking issue. In new apartment buildings that get constructed, 30% of spaces still go unused. I live in an apartment complex. When people go to work, nobody uses those spaces. They just lie empty over here. So why not can we use these spaces and give the commuters who are driving around looking for parking? When we talk about hotels, you see even now, hotel lots are lying empty. Most business people are now using Uber or Lyft to commute, back and forth whenever they travel. So even those spaces can be utilized. And so that is what the concept of ParkStash is and what we have done and what we have built into the picture. So now, since you have seen what, just looking for parking can do, let me tell you what we have built, a glimpse of what we have built. And then the next we'll go through the impact that we have made with our partnership so far. So first of all, our B2C product, which serves individual consumers and property owners. So what we have created is, again, Airbnb of parking. I would like to get back to it. And you see the screenshots on the right-hand side. If you're a San Jose State students, you'll see the Spartan logo right on top of our university. And we have all these spaces nearby from churches, restaurants who are renting, for our community to book and park. And so one thing is, if you book a space with us, you are definitely going to get that. And so you don't have to circle around and worry that, oh, I paid for a parking space, but hey, I just need to spend more minutes just to find a space. No, we have eliminated that problem. And we are also helping the local economy by bringing this as a community-based solution. The second thing that we have developed over the last 18 months is our enterprise product. So these are patent pending modules. So for example, at San Jose State, we have all these four, listed here occupancy that I'll be walking through really quickly. So you see what we have done so far. And so if you download the app, you click on the Spartan logo, you'll see the occupancy of San Jose State garages. Initially, when we had pitched to the university, for getting into the partnership, and they were going to invest LED signs to be put in front of the garages showing, okay, these many spaces are available. But we said that, hey, by the time I reach the garage and I see that LED signs, I'm already a part of the problem. I need to see the occupancy before I even leave my home. And with our app, you can do that. Before you leave your home, you can see which garage is least occupied, and that's where you will go to park. You don't need to circle around anymore. You know which garage is the least occupied. Second thing we done was a communication channel for the parking department. So they push important announcements. If a garage is under construction, if it is closed, you can see that right on the app instead of being surprised when you reach there. We also show shuttle routes on the app. If you open the app, you'll see from Park and Ride Lot, we show the shuttle routes. This is what we done in Michigan with Smart, again, a transportation company. We show the shuttle routes on the app. And we also have a park and ride program where the spaces where we bring, you can park there, the shuttle will pick you up, and you can be on your way to your destination. So it's about taking cars off the road, reducing CO2 emissions again. We also have e-permits. So for example, City of Mountain View, you could actually get an e-permit directly on the app. So instead of them giving you physical permits, your license plate becomes the permit for us. And again, that helps the university or any entity reducing their cost of printing those permits, and their operational efficiency also gets affected. Next question is, okay, you know what? You got my license plate. We have the e-permit. How do you actually enforce? So we have a patent pending enforcement where directly via the app, the mobile phone would scan a license plate, the enforcer would submit it, and then it would know whether this person has booked a space or has an e-permit or not. If he does not have an e-permit, you get a citation, you get a ticket right away. So that is a huge value again for a university or an entity to use ParkStash platform. And finally, once you have been issued a ticket, I have paid my citation ticket. I actually got one at San Jose State. So I paid via ParkStash. You can pay all your parking citations in 2 clicks via the app. Rather than going to the office or using, like a website or a laptop, it can be done in 2 clicks via the app. Then we have event reservations. I would show the impact that we made using event reservations at San Jose State during the graduation ceremony. So people can actually book for events and parking and food all together on the ParkStash app. Finally, we wanted the university to make data-driven decisions. So we provided them with a dashboard where they can track, okay, you know what, 7th Street Garage gets occupied at 90% or more at 11:30 a.m. So I need to switch my staff, or I need to let people know that, hey, you should actually use 10th Street Garage at this time. All those data-driven decisions can be now made with ParkStash platform, which again helps the university a lot. So now that you have seen what we have built, let me tell you about the impact that ParkStash platform has made with our current partnerships so far. First of all, I am an alumni. The university actually partnered with us. We launched in 2019. In February, they did a trial. And after that, we now have a long-term contract with the university. As you can see here, this is what we have created. On the left-hand side, you can see the occupancy and announcements. On the right, you see event tickets and bus routes. The university uses both our B2C app as well as the enterprise modules to make sure that there is no impact on the environment. There's sustainability metrics are met, which I'll share, in the next few slides. So we are the official parking app. If you have not heard of, so far regarding us, you're hearing it today. I hope I'm able to convince you, if you're commuting to the university, to use our app instead of circling around. And so with our app and with all the modules that we have made, they actually saved over $450,000, which they were going to invest in LED signage. And CFO Mr. Chalifas' statement was that we have reduced over 50% in circling around time. 50%. That is a huge metric for a university, which has to actually meet its sustainability goals as well. 24% reduction in operational cost. Parking department does not get actually any, like a financial help directly from the university. It has to satisfy its own financial requirements. And if you can reduce that cost, that actually helps them a lot, and they can invest on new technology with that cost saving. So this is the example that I was trying to, show earlier with the event reservation. In 2018, when San Jose conducted the graduation without ParkStash, they had 8,000 students graduating. They had to use staff because the line was all the way from 10th Street exit all the way to the 10th Street garage. That's how big the line was. You see on the red marker here on the right-hand side. So it was a huge traffic congestion. And they had to put up signs, they had to put people to direct, staff over, and it was a chaos. People actually missed their graduation. Parents didn't even come because they knew they wouldn't get to the, event center. And in 2019 is when they used our ParkStash app. It was free parking. You didn't have to pay for it, but you didn't have to reserve it so that we know in which garage you are actually going to park in. So we actually split from 5th, 7th Street to 10th Street to 4th Street, how many people can actually book in one garage. There was very little staffing requirements. There was no line. There was no traffic congestion during the graduation in 2019. And nobody actually missed it. Nobody. And so that's how we actually reduced the operational cost of the university by 24%. Let's talk about environment again. From the day of our launch in 2019 till today, we have helped over 288,000 cars park using ParkStash just at San Jose State. What this means is without us, it would be a circling around of 30 minutes of those cars just to get a space. So we have helped over 190,000 gallons of gasoline, which would be actually consumed by people circling around. We have reduced that consumption. We have saved you over 144,000 of hours circling for parking. And during this, we have saved over 1,689 metric tons of CO2, which would be spent into the atmosphere by you circling around looking for parking. And this is the impact that we have made. This was submitted to the Sustainability Department of San Jose State, and that has helped them take a step towards meeting their sustainability goals for the campus. So we are really proud about this. And this is from Mr. Chalifas' newsletter. If you look at the second line, we have reduced circling around time by more than half after the partnership. And we have reduced traffic congestion at and near San Jose State. Believe it or not, the neighborhoods that you see near San Jose State where people actually used to park illegally on the streets, that is residential permit program. Nobody liked students going on the streets over there. And when ParkStash came in as a community-based solution, now they could rent those spaces and students can book. So it's a win-win situation, not just for the university, it is for the Spartan community, it is for the property owners, driveway owners, whoever you talk to. It's a win-win situation for the community, and that is what we have built. As you can see from the smile of Sukhmanpreet, she said that ParkStash has made my life 1,000,000 times easier. That's what keeps us going. Second partnership I would like to talk about after San Jose State is our partnership with Woodward Dream Cruise. This is the biggest car show in US. It attracts over 1 million visitors from all over the US as well as from Canada. And we are the official parking app for the next 5 years. We recently had signed a contract with them. We went there actually this year. It is bumper to bumper traffic over there with over 40,000 cars coming in for the car show. And for this year, we were actually able to bring in over 1,000 parking spots, which saved the Oakland County, which is where it happens, over $70 million if they were to construct a garage just to help people find parking. And the event is presented and sponsored by Ford. The second partnership after Dream Cruise was with SmartBus. So again, it's the only regional transportation authority in Southeast Michigan. So we had a park and ride program going on with them. It's also actually continuing even right now. So the spaces we brought near the Woodward Avenue where the cruise happens, people would actually park there instead of driving up and down that avenue. They would take a smart bus, stay cool during the entire cruise, and just walk all the way over to Pontiac or Ferndale. They could catch the bus again and get back to their car. So again, we were able to get those people off the road and help them enjoy the cruise rather than circling around. A testimonial from the president, he said that we have helped increase parking locations so that people can enjoy more time in the cruise rather than finding parking. Laura Matt was a great one. I actually talked to her. I have a video. I made a recording also. We have that on the YouTube. She said that she'll be promoting the app like a maniac because of the experience that she got looking for parking on the app rather than circling around. And finally, I have this great picture for you. His Jerry. This is his classic car right in front. And so as you can see, the email that he sent that, it was great. Helped me download the ParkStash app. It was easy and seamless. And he booked a space in one of the salons that we have for the event. And you could see from the smile how much he's happy using the ParkStash app and parking there. Finally, the latest partnership that we have is with City of Saran. We are the official truck parking app. This is in Canada, right on border of US. And believe it or not, 98% of truck drivers don't have a safe parking space to park in. They have federal requirements that they cannot drive over this much amount in one day. And still they have to because they don't have a place to rest. They don't have a place to park. And with ParkStash, we are trying to solve that problem for City of Surrey. And soon you'll see us expanding to nearby provinces in Canada, as well as in US, which is, again, a huge parking problem right here, truck parking. And we are the first ones, actually. Nobody has looked at how to solve the truck parking issue. And we are extending our solution to solve this. So this is our ecosystem. So we have a university that we partner with, or a city or an event center. Then we have all these churches, restaurants, and local businesses that rent on our app. 125 actually. Today we have over 300 small businesses, churches, and restaurants that we have partnered up with using ParkStash, who rent their property. And just to give a brief idea on the local economy, how we are helping, after pandemic, even a single dollar coming into these accounts, these local business accounts, is a huge help for them. And they are very happy about it. They are part of a solution. They can rent the spaces, they can earn some money. And this is what some of them have made using ParkStash app. Finally, I would like to, just end this presentation by, some learnings from my journey as an entrepreneur. First of all, these words that you see are engaged, curious, persistent, innovating, pivoting. It plays a huge part in my journey as I went from a student to creating the app, now managing the expansion and the operation side of the business as the CEO of the company. One thing is, the third point I really want to focus on is be persistent in whatever you are doing. I have been turned down many times, even with the app, even with the idea that we were building. But all you have to do is keep on going, keep on finding new opportunities for you. You got to know how to convert a no into yes. If you can do that with even a single, opportunity or a person, you have made an accomplishment there. Be it a small or big, you have made an accomplishment. And so if you keep on going, if you don't look at the failures, you think that, okay, these failures are teaching me something, you're going to succeed in whatever you are doing, whether it's a startup, whether it's a company you're working at, whether it's your classes, courses, exams, whatever you're doing, just keep on going, keep being focused. And remember, it is never, you know, just never be afraid of pivoting. If you think that one thing is not working, try something else. You'll see a lot more doors will open for you as you go through this journey. That is all I have. Finally, the vision that we have is to make parking a seamless, stress-free experience. We want to unlock spaces at zero infrastructure cost. Our goal is not to build more garages. Our goal is to make efficient use of resources that are already available for us. And finally, we want to build cities with sustainable transportation parking solutions. Nobody has to circle around. We don't need to have CO2 emissions into the atmosphere. We need to care about our Earth. We need to care about the generations going further after us. And if ParkStash can do that, that makes me just a lot more happier today. That's it. That's all I have for you today. And great for listening. And I'm open to answering any questions you might have.
Oh, Samir, this is Barbara. I just have a quick question or a request. Could you talk a little bit about how good communication has helped you along the lines of, when you have to give pitches, when you have to just talk to other possible investors, that sort of thing?
Yeah, definitely. It actually played, look, communication has actually played a huge role even in the beginning. So what I had, and I come as an immigrant and entrepreneur here into the country, and I actually settled a lot. I went to international house. I lived there. I lived with almost people coming from 30 different countries, and how you speak with them, how you communicate with them matters a lot. I'll say this right now, we have started writing a lot of blog articles regarding our partnership, what the impact that we have made. Those actually help a lot in convincing potential different clients to join our venture here. And so whether it is your writing skills or your speaking skills, they do matter a lot. Even when I'm pitching to investors, that charisma, that passion, and that has to show up with your communication. Otherwise it would be just, they would look at you that, okay, you know what, it's something, a new startup has come up, let me pass on, let me try to talk to someone else here. So that will help a lot. Your presentation skills would matter a lot in every situation, whether you're pitching to a startup or you're getting a new client for your company. It would help a lot if you look at what you're doing. Even small details, very little details, or what words you're using, how you're presenting yourself, or what is your facial expressions when you're doing something or when you're speaking with someone, they do matter a lot, believe it or not.
Thank you very much for that answer. I believe we have a hand up, Matthew.
Yes, hi, Mr. Saran. I'd like to say thank you again for being able to present to us today. And as someone who's had to wake up at 6 a.m. for parking, yes, I agree that it's ridiculous for a 10:30 class. You have to wake up at 6 a.m. for parking. The one question I have, though, is with this app, I had noticed that you were they're paying for the parking per hour. How would that compare to, say, a semester pass at school, which is about $200 if you were on campus every day and you were using this app?
Yeah, actually it's per hour. So if you really look at the big picture, you're saving a lot more than getting a permit, because you don't take into account when you get a permit, you have to circle around for 30 minutes. Of course, if it's the peak of the season, if the pandemic was not here.
Right.
So you don't take into account how much gallons of gasoline you're spending. You have to pump the gas into your car. There's wear and tear on your tires by just circling around in the garages. All those costs, plus you have to make a decision that, would you like to waste your life by circling around looking for parking, or would you like to pay $1 an hour and get a guaranteed space?
Right.
And if you could answer that question, for me, it's a very simple answer that, okay, I'll get a guaranteed space no matter what. So, and in terms of pricing, our spots are sometimes more cheaper than the meters and all, but we don't look at it as a pricing based thing. We look at it improving your life and making an impact on the environment. That's what you're doing when you're using ParkStash.
Thank you. And like you said, I think it makes sense, considering the other factors, that the wear and tear on your car as well, and also just the frustration of driving around in a circle for hours every week just to find one space. So I agree.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
very practical in that sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if you look at it, the road rage numbers that I showed you, that would make it more impactful, because it's one thing to circle around, it's another thing to have that stress in your mind, and sometimes that stress would make you very angry, and when you're very angry you could do a lot more harm, not just to yourself but to other people. So yeah.
Okay, and then we have another question from Michael.
Samir, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Michael?
Good. I just had a couple of questions. Well, just one question, but as we're moving away from fossil fuel cars and moving towards electric cars as a society, and especially in California with Tesla and companies such as Rivian, how do you compensate for people that are driving from long distances and need a charging place for their Tesla or Rivian or hybrid or electric car with these parking spaces? Because I know a lot of these parking spaces are residential homes or people living in apartments and such. So how would you compensate for people that have those types of cars?
That's a great question, Matthew. So there are a few things that we are doing with the EV, and we know it's the future. EV will be the future in the coming years. So we are building the ability in the app to actually pay for your charging when you actually book a parking space. One thing is that. Second thing is, if a landowner just wants the person to just pay for electric charging, not for parking, that can also be done. The third thing that we are doing is actually trying to show which chargers are available in a particular parking space or a parking lot, and if they are open or free, and if a car is plugged in, how much the car is already charged. That capability is also currently being built upon in the app. I didn't show that; it's still in the developments, but that is one way we are trying to solve it. Especially at San Jose State, there are charge point chargers over there. We are trying to even get those onboarded on the app, because believe it or not, there is a huge demand and groups in the community where people message each other that, hey, I am leaving my electric charger, so you can bring the Tesla in now and just charge your car. So we are trying to do that. The only thing is we do require some integrations with the electric charger companies. That's what the current requirement is. And so once we have that, we can have the ability for people to pay for charging their cars right on the app.
That's awesome. Let's have one more question. For your app specifically, it is just based in San Jose at the moment, but your plan is to go global or across the country, I'm assuming.
Yes.
For people that are on, the East Coast or New York, where there's, very confined spaces and places where there's not a lot of people having residential parking, but having more garages under their apartments or stuff like that. How do you plan on as an app and a company to accommodate for that?
Great question. So partnerships has been very important to us from the beginning. So it's not about, of course, there are so many spaces that we can bring onto the app, but we want to make an impact where we can actually partner up with the entity first and then bring those spaces online. Let me tell you why. At San Jose State, when we had launched initially in 2018, those were the days when I was knocking on doors to get the driveways. That sales cycle was pretty long, because it's a startup that is now pitching to a landowner to get it onboarded on the app. The day university said that we have partnered up with ParkStash to solve this problem, within 2-3 days we had over 100 spots on the app. Why is that important again? Because now a university or a city is supporting the app to solve this problem together. And that makes a huge impact in the sales process. So even going forward, yes, you say that we are in San Jose, but with the Woodward Dream Cruise partnership, we are now operational in over 9 cities over there. So you can find spaces in Pontiac, you can find spaces in Royal Oak. And when we were doing the pitching, they realized that, hey, this app is backed by Dream Cruise, which is presented by Ford. So I better get on it. I better list the spaces. I better earn some money. And so that is how our plan for expansion is going forward. Even with Saran, they said that, hey, you could go ahead and get those spaces right now. We said no. Unless you actually partner up with us and you present this as a holistic approach for the city, we won't actually try to go there. And once city actually started promoting, landowners signed up by themselves. We didn't even have to call them. And that is what the impact a partnership makes to a startup or a young company. And that is what our goal is going forward. So we have a lot of, you'll be hearing in the next couple of months now. We have 3 partnerships already signed up. We have the impact story to show what impact we have made. And so now the conversations have become much, much easier with other entities to partner up with. And so if you say New York, yes, if we get some university in New York to partner with us, or even the New York City, then we can start building spaces over there to find a solution.
Awesome. Thank you for answering those questions, Samir. I appreciate that.
No problem. Thanks a lot.
We had a question from Gabby. You're muted.
There we go. All right. I had a question. It was kind of going off of Michael's in terms of availability for different types of vehicles. I noticed a main problem with people in terms of parking and finding parking would be vehicle size. Would this be available what's the question I'm looking for? Would you be able to indicate whether a spot was for compact cars, or would you be able to filter in terms of, I have this size vehicle and I'm looking for this size spot? Is that an option on the app, or would that be considered an option on the app?
Great question, Gabby. So we had this issue when we had started. So some property owners just wanted, standard SUVs to park in their lot and no compact cars or anything. And so really happy to tell you now the app supports all different types of car classifications. So we support from compact, mid-size, SUV. We even have RV and boats in there since we launched the truck parking. And so now the property owner can selectively choose which type of cars he's going to allow. He can actually put the parking spot size in there. And for you as a driver, you could go to the filter section of the app and you can say, hey, I'm looking for just SUV spaces. If you turn that on, the app will only show you those spaces which will fit your vehicle. And that's how we have built it. If you try to book a wrong space which won't support you, the app will give you feedback that, hey, your car is not allowed or won't fit in this parking space. So yes, we built that in the app.
Impressive. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, we have a few questions in the chat. Alicia is asking, is the e-permit only in Mountain View?
Yes, currently it is supported only in the Mountain View area. We are trying to get the e-permits in apartment complexes. Even at San Jose State, we are right now in conversations to get the e-permit program started up. It's a pretty new offering. We launched this over, I think 3 months ago. That's when we launched the e-permit program. And yeah, we are getting some good response for that.
Okay, and then the next question is a 2-part question. Is it a cost-free app, and does it show the free parking spots?
It is free to download the app from the App Store or the Google Play Store. We also have the web platform if you don't want to use the app. And yeah, once you get the app, you just search for the destination. For example, if you do San Jose State, it will show you the spots near San Jose State University. and you can choose to book, or you could just see the occupancy of the garages free of cost.
Okay. And then the next question is, how many active users are there?
How many active users every single day are you asking?
William, I'm assuming yes.
So currently the data suggests that we have over 15,000 active users every single day. This is in combination of San Jose State, city of Surrey, and in Michigan. That's what the data suggests. Particularly in San Jose State, we have over 1,500 students who actually go to the app every single day to get the parking occupancy or book a space.
All right, thank you. And then we have a question from An.
Hi, Samir. Nice to meet you. Thank you for giving us this green talk today. I really appreciate the advice that you gave earlier. I was just wondering what or how did you get that partnership with the city in Canada? What was your decision protocol like? It sounds or it looked kind of random that it was all the way in Canada, and then there are so many other types of companies that you paired with or partners. And also after that, what are your plans for expansion?
Sure. So with City of Canada, what happened was they actually sent an email to us that they are looking for a truck parking solution, which would be more similar to an Airbnb of parking model. So they had a lot of industrial lands over in Surrey, which were just lying empty. And the truck drivers here, they were raising a lot of complaints to the city. And this has been going for over 10 years, believe it or not, over there. And so the city decided that, hey, we need an app solution that could support it. They sent a survey out to everyone. Over 70% responded yes to having an app where they can list a space or have truck drivers book a parking space. And so then they had an RFI, it's a request for information that the city has. It's similar to an request for proposal. When you get into city contracts, that is what you have to do. You have to, build that proposal. And actually, I would like to tell you, that is again a lot of writing skills on there. So you have to actually build the proposal. You have to tell them what your app can do, what it has already done, what the impact it has made, what are the testimonials, are there any case studies? You have to show that. So we submitted that RFI. It took almost 8 to 10 months for the entire process to go through. And they had over 9 big companies, submit an RFI. They selected us. So our decision was to get this done because first thing, it didn't require a lot of changes on the app. We had to support the Canadian payments and all. So I'm not saying it was, just one day task. It took us a few months. But what we saw was for truck drivers, there is currently no existing solution. And this is about solving a fleet and parking mobility problem rather than just, giving an app. So a lot more opportunities could actually open for us in city of Surrey if we get the solution to them. And that was a pivotal decision making that, our team decided that, okay, let's build this up, let's present them a solution and let's get this done so that we can solve this truck parking issue. And the other part of it was the studies I read regarding truck parking. As a student, I have felt what it means not able to find a space. But if you look at truck drivers driving for 8 straight hours, then having not a space to park. So that decision always comes into my picture, whether I'm solving a real problem here or I'm solving an imaginary problem. If it is a real problem and it is connected to ParkStash, I'll go ahead and do it. And so that is what we did. The third one was that, okay, once we do this, city will actually partner with us and promote the app. So again, having a city to do that is a huge point for us to get other clients as well. So those 3 things mattered a lot. And your second question, I believe, was regarding expansion. So as I think I talked this with Michael, our expansion strategy is to identify the areas where there's a huge traffic issue. And those areas are usually universities, event centers, and city downtown areas. So for example, city of Mountain View downtown, we are currently now talking with them to have an entire holistic solution to their problem. And so our goal is to get the partnerships done first and then expand to that area. So we are currently looking at partnership with a lot of different cities. Our solution supports hospitals and event centers as well. So we are in conversations with them. So as you'll see going further in the coming months, if you follow our blog or if you follow our social media, you'll see a lot of partnerships coming up, and that is how we will expand over to US and in other areas.
Thank you so much for your thorough answers.
No problem at all.
All right, we have a question from Joseph.
Okay, hello. All right.
Yeah.
So this isn't too focused on the environmental aspect of things, but out of curiosity, what did you develop your the Android and iOS applications, and what languages did you use? Did you use Java for like the Android port?
Yeah, we are using native languages, so Java for Android and Swift for iOS.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, and Alejandro?
Yes, hello. So, when you were getting an idea for your app, how, like, I know there are many different platforms to use, like, around, and like understand the world of engineering, well, computer engineering, you have to choose one because you're stuck with it. I think that's my understanding of it. So, how did you determine which one to use? Like, understanding your problem, making it like be able to be applicable when people are using the app, or like were there any trial and errors they had to go through?
Got it. Yeah, a good question actually. So when we actually first started, my idea was completely different, and that's why I had that pivot point at the end of the slide. What my idea was, I'm going to install sensors in every single space in those garages, and then I'm going to show some kind of occupancy on the app. And since I was very engaged with the San Jose State campus, there's a Silicon Valley business plan competition that supports young Spartan entrepreneurs. So I went with that idea. I pitched there, and Mr. Homan Bolandi, he was the judge over there, and he said that, hey Samir, this idea is never going to work. It's a bad thing, and it's not investor friendly. Nobody would support it, and you're going to make Cisco more rich than your company. So it's like, wow. I mean, that was a really critical feedback from a judge over there, but I appreciate it. So he said that, instead just focus on software solution. And so then we made this new app where we had this Airbnb of parking model, right? And our first launch was at Levi Stadium for Taylor Swift and 49ers games. That was back in actually 2017, because I wanted to see what the response would be. Very simple app, very, very simple with just 2-3 screens. And I wanted to see what the feedback would be for such a simple solution. And based on what we learned from them, we now have a lot more, as you see on the app. So it's more about what the customer gives you a feedback from. It's more about launching with even a bare bones solution, and then making those iterations, making those different things on the app. The other side was that I had used different parking apps before. I have used Spot Hero, Park Mobile, I've used Passport Parking. And what I saw was, as a consumer, what I felt the lack of these parking apps had, I built that into my app. So I made sure that there was some feedback taken from the customer, there was some feedback taken from my own experiences, and then I presented this solution. And it's always changing. It is always changing. Even right now, we have a lot more to work on. We get feedbacks every single day. And so it's about filtering those feedbacks and thinking, okay, which one would actually affect my revenue, which would affect the experience, and which would make, a delightful experience to the consumer. So you got to choose and, work your way out.
Oh, okay. Oh, good to know. Thank you.
No problem.
And Alex?
Hi, Samir. How are you doing?
Good, Alex. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. I had a question for you. Back in the beginning of the presentation, you were talking about the number of commuters. We're going to use San Jose State as the example because that's the basis we need. 36,000 students, 43% are commuters. So you have 15,000 students needing parking. So for example, this semester I paid $200 for my parking permit, which comes out to roughly $6 a day for 6 to 8 hours. So the question I have for you is obviously when you're trying to implement the partnerships, how do you combat the I mean, ideas are great, solutions are great, but at the end of the day, it has to make sense financially. Otherwise, companies don't move or universities don't move. So my question was, when you were talking with San Jose State, for example, with 15,000 people selling permits at $200 a person, you come out to about $3 million in revenue. How do you combat that with, hey, we can offer a more efficient solution, but it's not going to bring in as much money, and we're going to help your students at the same time? I guess the question is, how did you overcome that? I'm assuming it was an objection at one point or another.
Yeah. Again, very great question. So what happened? And look, when we go ahead and pitch our solution as an alternative, we are going to bring you alternative parking spots. We pitch it in a way that we are not your competitors, or we are not going to take your revenue away. What we are going to bring you is more availability, more parking supply, because it's about understanding what the problem was. So I'll give a very small hint. The university actually used to buy spots in downtown in long-term leases, and that's about spending hundred thousands of dollars in there just to get the overflow demand fulfilled during the beginning of the semester. And so when we brought ParkStash, we had these 100-200 spots available, and you could get that for $30 a day, those kind of things. So the university saw that as like a support solution to what it already had. So we are not taking away our revenue. We are not, that's yours. We don't want to touch it. What we are bringing you is another solution where you can eliminate the circling around. You can get the credits for the CO2 emissions that you actually took down with ParkStash. And for us as a company, those enterprise modules that we built, that have a cost that you have to pay. So it's about, it's a very fine balance that you have to manage when you're pitching. So you have to make sure that they understand that we are not going to affect your revenue. We are going to help you actually manage your revenue much better by decreasing the cost of, having more staff or having long-term leases with these different parking lots. So I'm not sure I was able to answer it the right way, but I hope you got what I was trying to say.
Yeah, no, that was exactly because whenever someone comes out with a new solution, the hardest part is obviously getting investor, getting the first big partnership, breaking into the field, as you saw with Surrey, right?
Yes.
People are just now jumping on board. So you do not rent out the garage spots. All you do is manage the flow. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't manage. So with e-permits, we are going to get the garage spots as well. That's our next. So it would be a more holistic solution now, that even with the garage spots, e-permits would be via ParkStash. But right now, what we have with the university is, okay, we have these other spaces for the students to use, but now we can help you control or manage the traffic efficiently into the campus. Same for Surrey, same for other partnerships that we are building. And yeah, so far, one thing I would like to say, you have to have a cost of doing business at the beginning, and you have to take a risk over there. So we took a huge risk developing this, and having those trial solutions go out for some period of time. We were not making any money. Now it's good.
Thank you very much. That's the part that not many people, they always talk about the solutions. They don't talk about the struggle that got them there.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, thank you. The next question I have in the chat, would you ever consider integrating carpooling along with the reserved parking?
Oh, wow. That's really good. Since you asked that, we are going to do that. We are talking with the university regarding that. They want us to provide carpool permits in the app. I believe right now 70% of the solution or the app side is already done to support that. Soon, I think from the next semester or the next fall, you're going to see carpool permits on ParkStash App.
Okay. Juan, does that answer your question sufficiently? If not, you can post another question or
let me get a percentage for the idea.
The next question I see from Steve, what happens when you arrive and your spot is not available?
Yeah, so the app would actually offer you a new spot in that case. And what we now have built, the enforcement solution that I just showed, a glimpse of it. Actually, we released it like a week ago. So the license plates of all the cars that are parked are scanned by our enforcement community, and they are constantly being uploaded to ParkStash, database, and for the landowner to know that, hey, this car is not supposed to park here. And so it's really becoming much more efficient. These illegal cars parked, they don't park it anymore because either they get towed away because we have the license plate or not. But if you get to a space you don't find it, we get you a new space in that lot.
Very nice, thank you. Someone else, Mercy says, could you tell us about the technology behind locating the open spaces? And what kind of team did you need to bring your ideas to reality?
Okay, technology behind locating spaces, is that the occupancy that you're talking about, or is that the parking spaces available on the app that we show?
Mercy?
Spaces.
Spaces. Yeah, so
parking spaces.
Yeah, so I suppose you're referencing to how we developed the technology. So we have the Android and iOS app built on that. We used MongoDB database. I'm not sure if this is a technical aspect that you're looking for an answer for, but yeah, we have an algorithm in place. It's patent pending, so I cannot actually give you like algorithm details on how we do that. But yeah, what was your second question?
The second question was, what kind of team did you need to bring your ideas to reality?
One thing, so when I had started initially, I went through a team change 2 times now. Now the team that I have has been there for the last 3 years. And it was a lot of experimentation at the beginning. What I really looked for was passion and persistent. So I wanted to see if I make a pivot, would the development team just go bonkers that, hey, what you're making me do, we are doing something else a month ago. But so that is what I looked in the team, and that is what a team is needed to build a startup and great companies. So in your mind, you need to be passionate about the solution. You need to be passionate about, okay, even if we pivot, we are going to find something else and we are going to build that. And that is what the team has been so far for the last 3 years. So we are passionate, we are driven, and we are persistent, and we are not afraid of pivoting. So that's the kind of team you need to build.
All right. Steve asks, what happens if you park longer than the spot is available? But I assume that would be the same response to if someone's already in your spot.
Exactly. So you'll the landowner would know, we would know. So so the one thing that I would like to add here is if you're parked longer, the first 3 times we catch you, we don't tow your car away because we don't want to have a bad experience. We leave a small card with a kitty on it which says, hey, we caught you. Either extend it on the app or don't overuse the parking space. But if you're a continuous defaulter, then yes, we have towed cars away.
Okay. Next question from William. How does the garage monitor the available spaces?
How does the garage monitor?
I would assume, because I had a similar question, I would assume this is like the San Jose State garage, because there are some garages that there's the light above every parking space and you know whether it's open or closed. But the San Jose State garages, as far as I know, do not have that. So how do you know?
Oh, like how do we actually? So I would give a hint again. This is part of our IP, but they do have a technology. They do have LPR cameras right in the garages, and that is what we integrate with to make sure to know whether the space is available or not. We have verified with the parking department that the availability that we show on the app is 99% accurate. There's a 1% of error over there. Yeah, that is the answer that I can give.
Okay. Will, if that did not sufficiently answer, you're welcome to unmute and ask more. The next question is from Steve. You mentioned that you started off knocking on doors. Did you pivot from this advertisement method, and what has helped maximize new parking spaces available?
Great question. Yeah, we did pivot because when I was talking to an investor, he said that, are you going to knock on every door in the US? I said, no, I cannot do that. And so he said that, what else are you going to do? So, and what we did was, one driveway gets us just one space. But if you look at churches, if you look at hotels, if you look at restaurants, you get one of them, you get over, sometimes 50, 100 spaces altogether. And so, the most beautiful pivot was getting into churches because they want to help the community. They are compassionate, and their lots are empty apart from one day in the week. So we got those spaces much faster, and we built a lot more inventory by switching to this model of contacting big lot owners like churches, local businesses. Believe it or not, even salon owners, dry cleaner shops, they have parking spots available, which is 6 to 10 spaces there. So getting them was much better than knocking on doors.
Okay, thank you. That's the last of the questions I have, and we are just about out of time. So if there are any final questions, now is the time to unmute. And Alex has raised his hand. So go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, Samir. I was just thinking about this while you were talking about the churches. Have you guys partnered at all with like a shuttle system, say for like, let's say you do like a 49ers game and you rent out multiple churches in a 2-block radius or whatever, that there's an alert that goes out, hey, be in your spot by 7:30 so that the shuttle comes at 7:45.
We did, yeah. That was actually our first one that we tried for Woodward Dream Cruise. So we partnered up with Smart Bus, and so we had all these churches which were, some churches were 15 minutes away, so people don't want to walk so far. So those shuttles would actually get you to the main Woodward Avenue, and the routes of the shuttles and all the notifications could actually be seen on the app right there. So that was more like a park and ride program that we built for Dream Cruise. And you're absolutely right. Even for 49ers games, for other event centers, this is a huge play because they don't have the spaces. They know it takes 1 hour for people to just get into the stadium due to the parking. Especially for 49ers, it was crazy when we were doing the marketing over there. So yeah, we are trying to do that. Even for San Jose State, we show the shuttle routes to and fro from park and ride lot on the app.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Any final questions? I am seeing, I've had someone ask a couple times about the recording. Your teacher will issue this recording to you sometime next week. Any other questions? Barbara, I think the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Bonnie. Thank you for doing such a wonderful job moderating and getting the questions. And students, thank you also for such intelligent questions. And of course, Samir, we really want you to come back for future semesters. We wish you the greatest of luck with this ParkStash. It's just sounds like a wonderful product. So again, we don't have any more questions, so we're going to go ahead and end our GreenTalk, our first GreenTalk of the semester. So
it was great. It was great speaking. It was great questions by everybody. And as I said before, it's always great to come and meet with fellow Spartans. So again, thanks for providing the opportunity. Yeah, and I hope you guys are some who become Spartan entrepreneurs, or wherever you are, you become successful. And if you need any help, feel free to connect with me. I'm more than happy to help anyone. So yeah, thanks a lot.
I think you have a last question. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yes. Is it the spot only daily, or we can do like monthly or more than that?
Yeah, you can do daily, weekly, monthly. You can do for the entire 4 months or 6 months.
So you can reserve the spot for whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem.
And Samir, is it okay? I have your email address. If anybody thinks of any questions later or wants to connect with you for any other reason, can I go ahead?
No problem. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Good.
We have one more question. How should you go about getting useful criticism as an entrepreneur?
Great, great question. So in the beginning, it was a lot of criticism for me. So all you have to do is take a breather, get all those ideas together, not get angry at all. Don't take it on your ego. Nobody's hurting your ego there. They are just trying to help you. And so if you look at it that way, if you listen to people, and you got to meet industry professionals, you got to meet people who have much more experience than you. Because when I started, I was still a student, right? I was very naive at some points. And, so you got to take a step back. You got to you listen to the criticism, and then you got to filter out, sometimes there are very, very good points in those criticisms. As I said, my solution was hardware based at the beginning. If Human was not there, he's actually now the co-founder of the company. He works with me for the last 3 years now. He was a judge. He criticized me, came back. I gave a different solution. He wrote the first check. He's now the co-founder, and we have been working together. It's been a great partnership. So if you step back for a minute, you listen to the people, what they are trying to tell you, you're going to be successful. Mark my words, you're going to be successful if you do that. So that's how you should do. Whether it's a negative criticism, don't mind it at all. Just take a breather and listen to people and pivot or do whatever you think is the best thing to do.
All right. Thank you very much. It's been a fantastic first GreenTalk.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Bonnie.
Okay, and thanks everyone. We'll really end here so that Samara can get back to the other things that he's got to do and in continuing to build ParkStash. So everybody,
Okay.
you've got lots of thank yous in the chat, as you can probably see.
Oh, yeah. So that's always great. Thanks a lot, guys. It's great speaking with you all. Oh, wow.
Okay. All right, then. And everybody, our GreenTalks come to an end. We'll see you here, same time, same place next week. Okay. Thank you.